What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a magnificent Wednesday today. Today I'm going to be creating this Tears for Fears poster based on their album Songs from the Big Chair. Tears for Fears is my favorite band of all time. Songs from the Big Chair is not my favorite album by them, but it sure is a great one. The style I'm going to be working with today is going to be like a digital type of poster with the typography, similar to Swiss style and some elements of Bauhaus and everything, but I'm going to be using the font Rubik, which I really like a lot. All right, well, before we get started, please remember to hit like and subscribe down at the bottom, and also click the bell for notifications to be notified every time I upload a new video. Now, let's make a poster. Okay, so here I am in Illustrator, and the first thing that I want to do is I want to just kind of lay down the text. And it doesn't really matter, like when you're just kind of just getting all the text and everything onto the artboard that you're wanting to get on, really you just want to kind of lay it down first. So I'm just really just trying to make sure I do that. Let me do what I always forget to do. Let me start my keycaster here so you can see everything that I'm doing in the bottom left corner down there. Okay, so Rubik, this is a font that I believe it's a Google font. That's the first time that I ever saw it was on Google, and it's a great font. It's free for everybody to use. But it's a really good font, very robust. It's got some italics, and it goes light all the way down to black in terms of the weight. So really good font. And I've always wanted to make a poster entirely out of Rubik. I've never actually done that before. So let's do this. So the main focus of the album is, the main focus of the poster is the album Songs from the Big Chair. So I don't have any kind of base or template that I'm going off of here. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along, improvising, if you will. So I'm just gonna get started here. And before I do anything else, what I'd like to do is do kind of like a mock guide. This won't actually end up staying on the poster itself, but I think I'd like a pretty good amount of margin around the sides. So this right here, I'm just gonna set this up as a just kind of like a quick guide. You can pull your guides over and things like that, set up a nice structure and everything. But really, all I'm concerned about in this poster is really just the margin around the poster itself. So that's why I've just put this in here, and I'm just gonna do Command 2 to lock it in place. And then once I'm done making the poster, I'll actually get rid of it. Okay, so for this one, this poster is going to be specifically for this album. So what I'm going to do is when we get to Big Chair, it's actually going to be in large text, and I want to contrast that with the part that says Songs from the. So I'm going to do that, and I would like to see actually let me turn off caps lock because it was on, and I want to see what it would look like if we did something like lowercase versus uppercase and do a really big contrast. So we'll do that. And then I'm not a big fan of the black weight on this. I think that it gets just a little bit too chunky and it starts to get a little bit too rounded looking. So I think I'm just going to go with bold instead. All right, so then with this one, I'm going to go all caps, not Big Chase, Big Chair. Okay, so Songs from the Big Chair. Now, right off the bat, I really do like the contrast between this. So what I did was, and this is kind of, from my understanding anyway, this is a very Swiss principle, is to take your base height and then multiply it usually by 3 or 4 to get your big text that you want to get. So at least that's how I was taught how to do it when I was in design school, and it's just kind of what I've been doing ever since, with a few exceptions here and there. But I already like the contrast between the Songs from the and then also the Big Chair. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to adjust the leading a little bit. It's definitely a little bit too much for me. I'd like it to be, much closer together than that. And let's align these all together. And I do like the spacing for the Songs from the, but what I'd like to see, I'd like to experiment a little bit with doing something like this. Let's put this at the very bottom, and we'll go 2 inches, and I'm actually going to align it to the baseline, which is good actually, because I've got this the alignments under Align. I've got align, tick, lift, bounds, point text, and area text. So the baseline will actually sit right there where that 2-inch margin is at the bottom. All right, so move this over here. I'm just gonna align it with the actual text. You know what? Instead of doing that, let's do this. Let's align the text itself with our guide. So it's exactly 2 inches right there. And then grab all 3 of these, and I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna go all the way in and just kind of push it up right to that line. Looks good. Okay, and then from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab all 3 of these. Wait, just the 3. There, and deselect that one. Okay, and let's make sure that the spacing, okay, the spacing is already distributed, but it's gonna actually look at the glyphs themselves. I don't wanna do that. I wanna look at the actual leading. So these are, so I think what I'll do is, just to make sure that it's perfect, I'm just gonna type it as one text unit. Okay. And then I actually do like 60 point for both the font size and also the leading. So I'm gonna bring this to here, right where it touches that B, and then back it off maybe 1 inch. Okay, looking good. And okay, yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, songs from the big chair. And then let's type out the band name. Okay, and then for this one, I'm going to divide by, let's try divide by 3 for that. And I'd like, actually, I think that I may actually divide by 4, which will take it down to 60. And then also I'm going to try lightweight for this one. And now that I'm looking at this, I may even go smaller. So Tears for Fears, let's align it to the right side, and then we'll go up here. Actually, I think I'm going to leave this unlocked, so just so I can align things to it. It makes it a lot faster. Okay, so Tears for Fears. And then the release date on this, I know it came out in 1985, but let's go grab the actual release date. February 25th, 1985. And yes, because I live in the United States, I'm going to rearrange this, sorry. But I am. Okay, there we go. Okay, February 25th, 1985. And then what I'd like to do here is maybe something like the track list. So, and actually I want to adjust this really quick. I think okay, 40 is a little bit too tight. I think 50 is perfect. Okay, and then let's go here. And what I'd like to do is, since what we're kind of doing here is like the digital typography posters, one very similar to the one that I did the other day for what was that I did that for?
One eternity later.
Sorry, my mind went totally blank there. It was actually for Tools for Inoculum. So that's this video right here, and if you want to take a look at it, then go right ahead. But it's going to be in the same vein as that type of layout and that type of typography, where we're using kind of like a mono-spaced font. That's not what Rubik is, but it just looks like a really cool font. Okay, so let's do this. 01, 02, 03, and so for this, man, how come I can't get this rhythm down? There we go. Okay, so there are eight tracks on this album. So, and I don't even have to look them up. So Shout, The Working Hour, Everybody, this is going to be interesting. Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Mother's Talk, I Believe, Broken, Head Over Heels, and then also Broken, listed as live, and then Listen. If you've never actually listened to the songs that are on this album, like you've heard the hits and everything, but you've never listened to the album itself, I highly recommend it, because it is the album is just solid all the way through. It's completely solid. There's not a bad song on it. There are no throwaways on this album, and that typically used to be the case. Like, you know, like around this time, like you'd see albums that only had 8 songs on it. You know, like that was pretty typical. You know, because they only wanted to put the best of what they made. Okay, so we'll make this. I think we'll make that bold right here. Or what if we tried the other way around? Let's get rid of that. Okay. I actually do kind of like that. However, what I'd like to do is increase the tracking, or leading, not tracking, the leading just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and quickly group this together so I can get that aligned to the glyph. Good. And then ungroup. Okay. So let's see what we've got here. We've got Tears for Fears, release date, track list. Oh, and I'd like to also, so let's go to the track list, and I want to add in the track lengths. And what I'll do over here is I'll just align it to the right side. Do this over here, so that way it's nice and uniform going all the way down. Okay, this is really the only tedious part of this, but it's basically just copying and pasting, so we'll just do that. And I think I'm going to go in and make those track lengths just a little bit smaller, because they're not on the same level of hierarchy as the track names are. So I'm actually going with my while I'm doing this, I'll just tell you a little upcoming thing. It was my dad's birthday earlier in February, so as a belated birthday present, I'm actually taking him to go see Tears for Fears in Atlanta, which is great because my dad and I have been listening to Tears for Fears together since I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and it's always been our favorite band. So we're gonna go see them. We saw them a few years ago when they opened up for Hall & Oates in Nashville, and that was a really good show. Okay, so I wonder if, and this is just kind of an idea that I'm just kind of throwing out, but I wonder if it would be a good design element to put a big 2. And let's just kind of see. Could do number 2. Maybe not number 2, just 2. Maybe 2.0 would be interesting. If we were using it like an actual monospace font, that would be interesting. And this 2 right here is just a reference to their second album. But sometimes these work. It just depends on what your overall design goals are. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I'm just trying it to see if I can make it work. So that kind of looks like Songs from the Big Chair 2.0. So it looks like that album was like, you know, this was a sequel to it. So I think I want to just kind of avoid that. All right, so now that I'm looking at this and how everything is all laid out, Songs from the Big Chair, like the songs from the and then also Big Chair, seem a little bit detached. So I think I'm going to bring it just a little bit closer, maybe match the amount of leading between here and here. So let's just draw our box, go up here, and then just make that the same. There we go. So little tricks of the trade there. Okay, so that definitely looks better. I like that. So, you know, like it looks like it's one unit, like the title of the album is one unit, and it's not just kind of floating out there. So I'm gonna grab these two, group them together, and group these together as well as one unit. Select this, this, and this, and align, distribute the spacing. So now that there's an equal amount of spacing. And I'd like to do something, even if it is purely decorative, maybe some kind of like design element right here. And let's do something like this, maybe 1.5 inch, and you know, just something to kind of create a little bit more visual interest. It's not necessarily related to the album or anything like that. Just want to add a little something. What if we aligned it to the bottom right? There we go. Oh wait, we need to align it to the... That's interesting. It should be aligning to the baseline of the text, but it looks like it's aligning to the glyph. Let's see, what if we uncheck these real quick? And that... No? Interesting. Okay. Point text. no big deal. So what we'll do is we'll bring this over, and I actually want to recheck these, recheck both of those. Good. Bring this up here, and let's get, so I'm in outlines mode right now to make sure that I'm exactly with that baseline. Perfect. Okay. And then we'll align this to that side, to that little edge right there. Okay, that's cool. And I wonder if it's needed to balance this out, but maybe we can rotate this and then bring it up here, and then maybe divide it by 2 and get half the size. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. I like that. And what you could do here is, I'm not necessarily trying to cram more text in here, but you could put like the name of the record label and divide that probably by 8. Set it as center text right here. Good. And then maybe bring this down by 1/4 inch, or I think that's good. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So here is our Tears for Fears Songs from the Big Chair minimalist poster, if you want to be like super, super broad about it. But it's definitely more of like, like it's borrowing some principles from Swiss design, and I guess maybe also Bauhaus, but we don't have any shapes, shapes or colors that relate to Bauhaus. Although you could add it, but you'd really have to move some things around. Just out of curiosity, I'd like to see how this would look inverted. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to Photoshop just to do a quick inversion. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm over here in Photoshop, and I've copied it from Illustrator. I'm going to paste it as a smart object, and really I just want to see what it looks like if we invert the colors. So all you have to do is go down here to your Layers panel and click on the one that says Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer, and then click on Invert, and it inverts all of those colors. And I think that actually looks pretty cool because it reinforces the black and white color scheme that you see on the album cover itself. So that looks pretty cool. You could also add like a solid color if you want to go in and apply colors to it and just kind of make it colors and like make it a different color in general. You can kind of play around with blending modes and things like that. This is interesting where it's applying just to the outer edges of the text itself. It's real faint. But yeah, blending modes are a great way to kind of play around with color and play around with different textures and see how the different layers affect one another. But if you wanted to do something like this, where you want the actual color that you pick to be the actual background of the poster, then you would go with your screen blending mode. And you can also see right here, you can make it whatever color you want from this point. But I think I'm just going to stick with like just regular black and white to match the aesthetic of the album cover itself. So here it is, full screen, Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. Just going to say minimalist digital typographic poster. All right, well, thanks a lot for watching me design that Tears for Fears poster today. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe at the bottom, and also click the bell for notifications. It'll tell you every time I upload a new video. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.